Just waiting for our last board member. Apologize for our tardiness, but we had a lengthy closed session. It's all staring at her. I'll go ahead and reconvene the open session of the Washington Unified School District Regular Board of Education, February 25th, 2016. If I can ask Mei-Ling Hunter to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good job.
Thank you. Announcements of actions taken in closed session. Item E1, Government Code Section 54957.6, Conference with Labor Negotiator, WTA, CSEA Management. Michael Reed, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Scott Landsberg, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, and Linda Luna, Superintendent. Information was received and direction was given. E2, Government Code Section 54957.6, Public Employee Discipline, Dismissal, Release, Non-Reelection. The board met in closed session to discuss Government Code Section 54957(b)(1), Public Employee Discipline, Dismissal, Release. The board took the following action. The roll call vote was 5-0 by unanimous vote to adopt Resolution 1516-17, releasing 1 probationary employees effective June 2nd, 2016. The board met in closed session to discuss Government Code Section 54957(b)(1), Public Employee Discipline, Dismissal, Release. The board took the following action. The roll call vote was 5-0 by unanimous vote to adopt Resolution 1516-15, releasing 13 temporary employees effective June 2nd, 2016. We are to the approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Communications and celebrations, career technical education, the CTE program, overview and highlights, Education Services Director Renee Collins.
Good evening, President Cruz, members of the board, Superintendent Luna. Renee Collins is here tonight with some teachers and some students to share an update of what is happening with the Career Technical Education Program, and I think you're going to find it a very exciting presentation.
Thank you very much for allowing us to share about some of our highlights from the year. Tonight, we're going to watch a video. As you know, we have 9 career and technical education programs in the district, and we have 3 of our programs here with us tonight. And so I believe that students from 2 of the programs are going to share what they've been doing this year with you. All of the students here tonight are seniors, and they all have plans for what they're going to do next year, many of them following in the same pathways that they're graduating from, so that's very exciting. And for those pathways that are not here, and for those ones that are, we have prepared a Career Technical Education highlights video for you that we'd like to show at this point. It was created by our video production class with our teacher, Christopher Hanks. So we'll go ahead and play the video, and then our students will share.
By 2018, the nation's economy will create 13.8 million brand new jobs and 33 million replacement jobs. Well-trained and highly skilled workers will be best positioned to secure high-wage jobs. Will we be ready to fill that gap? The Career Technical Education Department in Washington Unified School District has already started. The district offers 9 Career Technical Education, or CTE, pathways. The pathways include the Engineering Technology Academy, Culinary Arts, Farm to Fork Ag Science, Biomedical Sciences, Engineering Design, Residential and Commercial Construction, Robotics, Video Production, Computer Science. In this year alone, 1,059 students have enrolled in one or more of these career pathways. The district CTE programs prepare students by providing them with industry-specific knowledge and skills critical for successful employment in a wide range of high-wage, high-skill, and high-demand careers. With the aid of local industry partners, many of our programs offer work-based learning opportunities, including mentoring, guest speakers, field trips, job shadowing, and internships. Each of our career and technical education pathways prepare students to enter employment directly following high school and prepare students to continue their educational and career goals in aligned programs at local colleges. In addition, our programs have been designed with regular input from advisory committee members who keep our programs relevant with up-to-date industry expectations and standards. Combined with other academic offerings, students enrolled in career technical education are able to meet UC and CSU A through G college entrance requirements, as well as high school graduation requirements and career goals. Some of our 2015-2016 highlights include the nomination of our Engineering Technology pathway as a Distinguished California Partnership Academy by the California Department of Education. Our academy is one of 12 recommended out of the 434 academies statewide. Articulation agreements with Sacramento City College allows 3 of our CTE courses to now be approved for college credit. 30 students in Term 1 received college credit along with high school credit for successful completion of their course. The opening of the new Bright Career and College Training Site with the launch of the CAFE, or Culinary Arts and Farm to Fork Education Program, in August 2015. The development and approval of 3 new UC A through G pending courses in our Farm to Fork Ag Science program. 100% of our culinary arts students in Term 1 receive their industry-recognized ServSafe certification, making them eligible for employment in the food and hospitality industry. The addition of the capstone and 4th-year courses in both biomedical sciences and engineering design. Both programs are now eligible to apply to be Project Lead the Way certified programs. Students in residential and commercial construction are building and painting a shed purchased by the Sacramento Kings for their new arena. The purchase of a new 3D color printer to support the engineering design and robotics curriculum. New episodes of RCTV released every 2 weeks by our talented video production students. The offering of AP Computer Science A for the first time. The computer science pathway was recently visited by the mayor and a team of industry professionals who have agreed to offer internships to our district's CTE students through the Community Wins Grant. What's next for CTE? There are 11 elements for high-quality CTE programs. Recent funding from the state will allow our district to focus on building upon and refining each of these elements. Many we have already begun to work on. Our work will include expanding current pathways and building new ones, recruiting skilled CTE instructors and providing ongoing professional development, delivering high-quality curriculum and instruction aligned to post-secondary programs, providing embedded career exploration and guidance, supporting students and promoting leadership development, updating program equipment and facilities, creating strong industry and college partnerships, capturing hard data related to the success of our students, and expanding the marketing of our CTE programs within the district and throughout the region.
Okay, thank you. I am so proud of our programs and our teachers and our students in our programs, and I'm just really, really excited that we're able to be here to share with you some of the successes and some of the plans for where we want to go next this evening. So I'm going to invite the students to talk because they're a lot more interesting than me. So I'm going to invite up our engineering, design, and development students, and they're going to share a couple projects that they just completed. All projects that are focused on applying their engineering skills in real-world applications, real-world problems, real-world applications. So you guys want to grab your projects and come on up quick? And if it's okay, students in both programs have brought something to give to the board members. Would it be okay if they approached you with that? Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Melissa, make sure you're sharing it.
Hello, I'm Melissa Bustamante, a senior at River City High School, and I took the capstone course called EDD, otherwise known as Engineering Design Development, which Ms. Tan taught, and I created the pet feeder. It's a more affordable and convenient way to feed your pets. And this is how it works. So there's two ultrasonic sensors in the front, and only one door opens at a time.
Renee, can you turn it so the camera can see? Because the podium, there you go.
Only one door opens at a time, so your dog or any type of pet you have can get one serving of food.
Can we set it off again?
Yeah. When it's full, all of the food should come out. Yeah. We had to survey 200 people, and with the results from that survey, we drew out different designs of like a more affordable type of pet feeder. And this is the design that me and my team chose. Yeah.
Melissa, tell us what your plans are for next year.
Okay, I plan on attending Sac State and majoring in engineering.
Thank you. Jordan, anything on?
Hi, my name is Jordan Criswell, and this is my partner Ethan, and we came up with the Cubby Keeper. We also were both involved in EDD, which is also the class that Ms. Tan taught. And Ethan will talk a bit about the background and research we did for the project.
So ours is called the Cubby Keeper. What it's meant to do is to help prevent people from losing any items such as their keys, wallet, or phones. So you're supposed to put it like towards the front of your door, and then if you put all your items in a designated spot, then you are less likely to lose them. And then you'll explain how it's.
So we came up with the idea to have two different types of cubbies. So we have an open top one, and we have a drawer type one. So if you were to reach your phone, do you have a phone on you? No. Okay, so we'll use this clicker. So if this is like a phone, for example, then you put it in here, and it senses whether or not it's in there. So your light turns green, and if the light is red, then it can remind you whether or not to put something in there, so that you don't have to try to find it later, and you end up losing it, and you spend so much time when you're trying to leave right away. And for items that you want more tucked away, like your wallet or things that you want more secluded, we have the drawer, which also uses pressure panels. This one uses an ultrasonic to see if something's in there. This uses pressure panels, and that does the same thing. It'll let you know whether or not something's in there, so you don't have to try to find it later. Oh, and they're detachable. So we had Velcro uses, so that you can remove them, so that if you wanted let's say 2 of the drawers for more seclusion, or if you wanted 2 open ones for easier access in and out.
Thank you. Jordan and Ethan, what are your plans next year?
So right now, I, of course, am still waiting to hear back from CSUs and UCs. One of my courses that I'm wanting to go to is maybe North Carolina to pursue a scholarship in softball and look for mechanical engineering. And the other one, maybe Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, or Berkeley.
And then after high school, I'm planning on moving to Portland, Oregon, and apply to schools there and pursue my engineering classes and courses.
Yeah. And here we have our 3D printer. This is our class keychain / logo that we printed with the 3D printer that we have at our school. So if we can.
Okay. I just want to say quickly that their teacher, Judy Tan, is our most recent CTE credentialed instructor. And so we're really excited to add her to our CTE team. So she's also a math instructor for us. Okay, I'm going to invite the culinary arts students up to share about their projects.
My name is Cecilia Gutierrez, and I'm currently in the culinary class. And culinary class has been a really fun experience for me. And I currently applied to American River College, which I've known that it has a great culinary institute, and that's why I applied to it. And hopefully, with this experience, I'll be able to go further and be a better cook. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Good. Okay. Who's going to talk about the Pro Start competition? Okay.
I'm Gabriel I'm Gabriel Maltez, also in the Culinary Arts Institute. So pretty much for the competition, it's going to be starting on like the 12th and 13th of March. So what we've been doing, we've been practicing like knife skills and sanitation, how to cook certain like recipes for entree, dessert, and appetizer in 1 hour. So our biggest problem we have like working on is like time management. But once you nail that down, I think we'll be pretty good. So I mean, so far it's been a great experience. So like afterwards, I put in some thought about pursuing it, but still looking into it. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, really excited for the competition. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys. So the competition that they're referring to is the Pro Start competition. And so the Pro Start is the curriculum that we've adopted for the culinary arts pathway. And the students earlier this week, worked with one of the chefs from the Saddle Rock restaurant, Kevin O'Connor, and one of Chris Yarish's restaurants, and so that they were able to help us out and work with the kids, and I believe that he said that their knife skills were on par. They were doing well. So the students have made some brownies for everybody this evening, for the cabinet and the board, and anybody else who would like some. Thank you. We also have Jennifer McAllister from the Farm to Fork program and pathway and egg science. We have a couple consent items tonight, so related to her program, the aquaponics and the greenhouse. So we're really excited about the direction that CTE is going, and we appreciate all the support that you are providing to our programs. And unless there are questions, that's all from me.
Normally, we don't have questions, but I think the board probably wants to say something. I know they're sitting on the edge of their seats.
I just have to say this is the first thing I've ever seen and held from a 3D printer, so thank you. That's really cool.
Nice.
And we've done several tours with community members and folks interested in the Culinary Academy, and I'm so excited that you guys are there and doing so well. And Yorgos, I hope you post that video to Facebook and that we can all share it on our Facebook post.
It's already there. He's on it. It's already there.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work, too.
Oh, I just want to say to the Culinary Academy, I've heard so many good things about you. And actually, I'm a member of the Old County School Board Association, And the superintendent of schools in Yolo County, Jesse Ortiz, he asked me, he says, do you think when we have our Excellence in Education Awards that they would be willing to cook? And I said, well, that's something we're going to have to clear. But everyone's heard about us, and they're very excited. And there are a lot of other individuals in the community who are very excited about going in and visiting the school and maybe even holding some events there.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think holding some events there would be awesome. I think there's a lot of people here who would love to have, you know, to be able to see the kids work and get the experience and actually taste some of the food, because I tell you, I'm going to kill this in about 5 minutes.
Did you have anything?
We welcome visits. We welcome opportunities to partner with other agencies. So yeah, that's exciting.
When the proposals come before us, the course descriptions we approve, and it's always exciting. But it's on paper, and we know that those programs would not come to life and be as phenomenal as they are without our staff and the teachers who work so hard. So when we come and we see what's happening in your rooms and your faces are lighting up and you're excited and you're passionate, that's what really gets the kids excited. And so thank you for all you do and for giving up your evening to be here. And for the students, what a treat to have you come out and hear from you. The case for leaving things when you come in the door, I need one of those because I've lost my wedding ring. It's been 3 weeks. And I need one that's toddler proof because mine keeps becoming My Little Pony crowns and I can't find it anywhere. So just so neat to see what you're doing, and it has real life applications. So thank you very much. Oh, and I just had sent to me a grant for an environmental education grant, so I'll forward that, what that looks like, and it looks like it might be some good money, so I'll send that your way. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
It was a very, very, very nice video. It's so nice to see what's happening out there on our campuses and with our students. Congratulations to all of you that are going off to college already, those that are waiting for letters. And I often tell all the students, and for me, I will say the culinary students, we're always glad to write letters of recommendations. Our emails are out there.
Yeah.
I am a chef. I graduated, so if you guys need, especially the culinary, because I relate to them too. Not so much the robotics and things. I don't know how to build things, but I'll write letters for you too. But please go on our websites and just ask us. We would be so glad to write letters just to get you to where you need to get. And it's really exciting just to see you all coming out and spending your evening, and go home and do your homework. Thank you guys for coming out.
By the
All
way,
right.
these are delicious.
I know,
Thank
I
you.
smell them. We just smell them. Thank you very much. We are to student and association reports. Student board member report.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight I have a short report from Southport Elementary and River City High School. Southport Elementary hosted a Mad Science Night on Tuesday night for over 300 students and their families. The night was filled with hands-on experiments such as make your own cotton candy, static electricity, and a hovercraft that students could ride. All students and families were treated to a Mad Science show on the stage with experiments involving dry ice. Southport PTO was on hand giving out free popcorn to students and their families. Southport will celebrate Dr. Seuss's birthday on March 2nd with our second annual door decorating contest. The winning classes will be able to choose their favorite Dr. Seuss book, which the principal purchases and reads to the class. On March 3rd, students will participate in a walk around to enjoy all the decorated doors. Southport is working with River City High School to have high school students come to the school and read throughout the day to Southport students. 3rd through 8th grade students are preparing for the annual spelling bees in March. 1st grade students will have their spelling bee at the end of March, and winners are rewarded with plaques and a medal. Kevin Bracey will return to Southport on March 10th to hold K through 5 student rallies. He will be back on March 11th to DJ and host a dance for our 6th through 8th grade students. We want to thank Washington Unified for providing our students with such a wonderful and positive program. And River City will be having their academic assembly on March 10th to honor all of the students with a GPA of 3.5 or above. The assembly starts at 6 and will be held in the River City gym. The River City mock trial team just finished their local Sacramento County competition. The team finished with a 2-2 record and will continue on to the state competition as the Yolo County champions in March. And our winter sports recently ended with our JV boys basketball team winning championships, and our spring sports are underway and look forward to the season ahead. That's all I have for this evening, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna put Stan on the hot spot real quick. Do you know, could we get maybe a schedule or something of mock trials? I don't know if anybody else would like to, but I think maybe some of us on our spare time.
I'll be happy to, but I'm going to stop coming to board meetings if you keep asking me to come up here and speak. But yes, I will get you any schedules you want anytime. So please let us know. We love it when you guys come to our school. And thank you for watching our CTE students and all the kind things you said about them. It means a lot to them. And I know many of you have come visited many times, and you guys have done a good job of helping promote those programs, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, WTA report. Don?
Good evening. So we had a negotiation session this week, and we're glad we're back at that again. I have to say the tone was positive. We felt good about it. We didn't come to agreement on things on Tuesday, but we're optimistic that things are moving forward. So I'm off to a good start again. As you know, I've been making a lot of visits to teachers in the district over the last few weeks, and those teachers who will not be coming back next year. One of the common themes I heard was about their evaluations, and many of them said they were surprised and really disappointed at the release because they really didn't know that there was any issues or any serious issues. And several also told me they had not received any meaningful feedback from their administrators on how they're doing in their jobs. And I know on many of the sites we've been having issues on following the timelines and procedures that are built into our evaluation part of our contract. I know we're going to be working on that over the next year, and I'm really hopeful, and I'm really want to seriously take a look at evaluation and make sure that our system is set up to support new teachers, to make sure that the schools are getting good teachers and that they are being evaluated properly, and that we are actually helping people as they grow in their careers. And so something that we definitely want to work with the district on. One of the other common themes I've been hearing from the K-8 schools especially is on discipline issues. And many teachers are not feeling supported, and that behavior issues are not being addressed by administration. Multiple reports from teachers saying things, well, I sent this student who was kicking others in class or throwing furniture, sent the student to the office only to have that student return to my class 10 minutes later with no consequences for that behavior. So we have classes that are being disrupted, and the education of all of our students is being affected. I know it's a good idea to keep kids in school, and that we do not want to be suspending people, especially the early elementary folks. I'm hoping that we can find better placements for some of these folks, some of these young kids, and that we provide them with the support they need so they can succeed. And again, I know we have more work to do here, and want to work with the district to make that successful for everybody. Next year, we're going to have a rollout and pilot program in English language arts curriculum. I've heard from some early elementary teachers, and this is, since I don't teach English, this is new stuff for me, but apparently there's several different ways you can approach the teaching of English language arts for early elementary. You have a whole language approach, you have a sounds first approach, and you have a letters first approach. Each one of those is done in different sequence. And they've expressed the desire not to have a rollout of a pilot program in mid-year, since they may be in a different sequence and a different curriculum at the time, and it would cause kids to either fall behind or lose bits and pieces of what they need to be getting for that particular grade level. So the request is that if we have a rollout and a pilot, that we actually start at the beginning of the school year and have it in place so that whatever we decide to do curriculum-wise, the students will have the opportunity to have a complete curriculum at those early elementary years when it's so important to acquire those reading and English language skills. So finally, we have a total of 58 teachers going to San Jose in April for the Good Teaching Conference. And so I've been spending my time getting them all registered and the hotel reservations made and all of that. And I sent a big fat invoice over to Bill's office, and so I'm hoping the purchase order goes out soon, and I'm excited. And I know I think 15% of our faculty are excited to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question, Don, real quick? No? All right, fine.
This is, yes. You can ask.
Huh? No, that's fine.
CSEA, Mr. Robert Roberts.
Good evening, President Cruz and board members. First, I'd like to say, give my appreciation to Mike Reed and Linda Luna.
I'm sorry, is the mic on or bring it close, please?
Okay, well, first of all,
Thank
I'd
you.
like to thank Mike Reed and Linda Luna for taking time to meet with us over some concerns that we've been addressing. This is Ray Tolbert. This is Ray Tolbert. He is our vice president. In case I'm not here, he will be here in my replacement. At this time, there's a couple things that he would like to say and address the board. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. To start off with, I'm speaking on behalf of the members of the CSE chapter Riverview, and we have an agreement here between us and the Washington Unified School District. We seem to be coming to some a few issues in here that, well, since we took office here 2 months ago, that is leads me to believe that it's a lot different than an agreement. So we're hoping to bridge this gap. We're working with the district office, and to bridge this gap and bridge this gap and bring morale to our members back up again. Because I know through my experiences throughout the whole district, the morale of the district is down, and we would like to work with everybody to bring that up. So in requesting information, this is a season where we need to look at Section B in the contract over the reopeners on the salary and health benefits, then the two additional articles. We've been requesting the district office for information since I wasn't handed anything down from the CSEA to do the budget, since I'm on the budget committee to commence. So we were requesting information from the district office, and it's been a pill, but hopefully, talking with Mr. Landsberger tonight, hopefully it's gonna go a lot smoother, so we can get on with that. Another thing I'd like to address is that a community we have here, and our employees is a very large part of our community. We all have kids that go to school here. We do field trips here. Our employees are a huge part of our community, and it just seems through talking around with everybody since I've been in office is it doesn't feel that they're not feeling like that they are very much part of the community. So I'm talking with them about that, and hopefully we can work together and change these things. And sorry, Robert, I lost my notes. And another thing, Ms. Cruz, is I would like to invite anybody from the board to please consider, any of you, to ride with me on a route of mine. I would love it if any one of you can make it on a route for the morning or for the afternoon, on a bus route to Woodland. My particular route goes to Woodland. It's a special needs route. Some wonderful autistic kids. I think there'd be a lot of people that would like to meet some of you guys, because my route deals with students where it's direct interaction with the students and the parents and the teachers. I pick up kids from the house, parents bring them to me, we take them to school, and paraeducators and or the teachers get them off the bus themselves. So I think it'd be a great opportunity to help us change this morale, and I would love it if one of you can at all make it on a bus route with me. Thank you.
Thank you. To public comments, Mei-Ling Hunter. More. Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yes. We're not gonna. Oh, we need bags tonight.
We don't say no to cookies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So, good evening. Thank you for letting me talk. So, I'm here tonight first to say how well Stonegate's garden is going. So, thank you first to Scott for helping procure the 10% ADA compliant pathway. So, thank you. And then also, we are underway with a huge garden beds for each grade level at Stonegate. It's going in, it's going great. We have a parent contractor working on the weekends. We hope to have a groundbreaking ceremony by the end of March, barring El Nino. So we're very excited about that. So in front of you, I have two things. One, I have a very nice invite from YOLO Farm to Fork, which they support about 40 schools throughout Yolo County. So this gala is going to benefit all the schools in Yolo County, and there's going to be all featuring food and wine from all of Yolo County, and it's going to be very exciting. We hope you guys can come, because they're going to have all sorts of like a call to action and see if we can get some sort of big business to sponsor a garden or maybe several gardens. And then, let's see, what else are we doing? And then also, where you see that Sutter Memorial in the threefold, that's going away. Inside there is going to be West Sacramento School Gardens. And that's the private and public school gardens, about 10. And we've all come together and we've worked together, also with Jennifer. So we've definitely have shared lessons learned, shared grants and knowledge, and we're all very excited. And I hope we will see you at the gala on March 21st. Any questions?
I'd just like to add, if you've never been to Park Winters, it's beautiful.
Oh, yeah, it's really gorgeous. Like, you look at those pictures, it's like the go-to wedding place.
It's beautiful. Fun place for an event.
Yeah. Well, hope to see you guys there.
Thank you. We have board and superintendent comments. Trustee Pizzotti?
Sure. I met today with Bill Spalding to go over some ideas regarding trying to expand our preschool programs and what we can do, maybe to incorporate some ideas of daycare and preschool into those programs. We're going to continue and have a follow-up meeting in about 2 weeks and see if we can get more ideas going. I just want to say thank you very much, Bill. I appreciate your time and walking sort of a layperson through the process. Thank you very much. Also, Dawn, I hope you address those issues of not feeling supported locally on the discipline issues with the children. I just wanted to let you know that I would like to hear more about that at some point. Thank you.
Board Member Villegas?
I'd just like to add that I had a wonderful visit at Westfield, and I'm glad that they're getting a new gate, a new security, Scott, so thank you for working on that. It needs to be done quick. We've had a couple tours of the Culinary Academy and NCCT with members of the community, And I just wanted to check in on one thing, and I know, Scott, that you've talked about this before, but the walkway at River City High School where the kids tend to walk, but there's no walkway there, in the dirt. Just wondering where
You're
we're
talking
at
the
with
front of the
that.
school? Are you talking
Pardon?
at the front of the school?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're working on that.
Okay, good.
It's gonna require an additional, crosswalk, and so we have to work with the city on the additional crosswalk.
Oh, okay, good. Love to see when that happens, because coming out of the gym every morning, somebody's gonna get hurt there. So, and then the, Board Member Kirby Gonzalez and I had been talking about the use of the track, at River City High School, and wondering where that was with public use of the track there. Are we still not allowing that? No?
You know, as far as just having the track open to public access without supervision, no, we do not do that.
We did do it before with the city, though, is that right?
It's run through the city, and the city still runs a program. I don't know if their walk program is still in play. I'd have to go and look at what the rec center programs are, but all of those public events that were held on the track were done through the rec center. They were not district programs.
Thanks. That's it.
Board Member Alcala?
Thank you. I attended a presentation by Yolo County Department of Education by UC Professor Dr. Gloria Rodriguez, and it was titled "The Cost of High School Dropouts to Yolo County." And the panel discussed not just the financial impact on Yolo County's resources, but also the human impact on the individual. And as I was listening to them, it made me really very proud that Washington Unified School District has safety nets to prevent this. These safety nets being our social workers, many of the partners that we have in our staff. So, you know, I know we were looking at some of the records that they had for Yolo County. I believe it was back in 2007. I think they had 365 dropouts that year. But even though they didn't present the current records, I know in our own Washington Unified School District, we only had, I believe, there were only 3 who did not graduate. And I know that looking at records, I've spoken with Jerry also, you know, our dropout rate has tremendously dropped. And it's because Washington Unified has, as I said, provided these safety nets, and I think we're doing a very good job. And this is going to make a big difference, as they said, on the human impact on each individual's life, you know. And we have young students from the Cesar Chavez School talking about they actually went to Cesar Chavez because they were having a difficult time in their present school. So these safety nets are all around the county. So we're doing a very good job, I think, of preventing this. I also attended the dual immersion presentation that they had at Elkhorn, and I was really happy to see parents interested in this. It's a 5-year commitment. Children would be taught in Spanish and in English. And someone made the observation, sometimes parents who speak Spanish have a very difficult time being able to help their children in school because most of the lessons are in English. But this is really going to provide an incredible amount of comprehension and I think camaraderie also with parents, because some of these parents are going to, the English-speaking parents are going to have to be learning Spanish. So there will be, you know, I think a very good bridge there, you know, for the children. And they also show that when children are in these programs, the charts they presented were incredible. They showed they do so much better. And when they do get to high school, and they've been through these programs, they also get a certificate. And that's definitely going to help in this global economy that we have for them to be able to speak another language. And let's see. Oh, and yesterday, I'm glad you mentioned that, I actually attended the first Yolo County Preschool Initiative meeting. They're trying to, under the leadership of our superintendent and many stakeholders, we're hoping to bring true universal preschool to all of Yolo County. There is a proposal on the board. We're hoping that all of our supervisors in Yolo County will agree to passing 1/8 cent tax to help fund the preschool in Yolo County. They've actually mentioned our own preschool here in West Sacramento. They're using that as a model, the pilot that we've had here. And this would actually enable quite a few families. We understand that You know, families with a lot of money can afford to send their children anywhere. Children who come from families that are economically disadvantaged get into a lot of programs, but this would be availing preschool to working families. And I know a lot of working families, even if they're making good incomes, you're looking at sometimes $800 to maybe $1,200 a month, you know, for preschool. So we hope this passes, and as I said, if this 1/8 cent tax gets passed, Assemblyman McCarty is also proposing that the state provide matching monies. He has a bill that we're hoping would also get passed. And then I believe that's the end. Oh, one more thing. I was just going to say CSEA, I'd like to go on that bus trip. So let me know after the meeting when you're planning on that, and I'd like to attend. That's it.
Thanks. Board Member Kirby Gonzalez.
Okay. I have no committee updates. I've just been sick and sick and sick for the whole time, but I'm better now. Kindergarten registration, thank you for everybody working so hard on that. Staff, it's rolled out really well. And so that's this Saturday that you can first register. And I've been hearing, again, great things about dual immersion. One sticking point for some families has been the transportation, is how will I get my child there? Personally, I'm in that same exact boat as a two-working parent household without family who could get my child there. So I know very much, when parents come to me, I understand very much what they're juggling and struggling with. And so that's something that I'd like to think about in the future when we look at our numbers this year. How full are we? Are we capturing kids from all over the city like we'd like to in a program like this? Is there equity? Or do we have families who are having a hard time getting there? Maybe is there before school care for the kids that they could be in, so that if they are traveling and working that they're able to do it, to have their kids in this program. So that's a piece I'd like to look at as we move forward, because I do know that it's holding some people back that would like the program, and it's certainly an issue that would be in my family as well. With that, I think those are the main pieces. I did talk to, as we think about, we've talked about it before, working with outside organizations, looking at what do we offer for childcare, how do we partner with folks. I know, just for example, one site, which was Bridgeway, I bring it up because they have about 1,000 students, and the YMCA can accommodate 28. And they have a huge waiting list. And they said, hey, we'd love to open, and I know there's a space issue, but I hope we can get creative in working with these organizations that say, we'd love to open like we do on our other campuses at 7 a.m. And take some more kids. So I hope that we can get creative as we work with some of our partners and outside organizations, because it is very much anxiety-filling for parents when they don't know, how am I going to get my child there? What am I going to use? And if there's only 28 students for 1,000, it's almost kind of ridiculous. You can't even really advertise it because there's such a long waiting list. So something to think about moving forward. What do our sites look like, and is that a way we can expand our partner with outside organizations? So I know the cost is a lot, but I pay, it's just a lot of money. That's the time we're in, I think. Cost is definitely an issue, although the YMCA would be less than paying some places to come pick up your child and take them home too. But I know it is prohibitive. If there's sliding scales, that's great too, of course. Yeah, thank you.
So by the time it comes to me, you guys have stole all my thunder. I have nothing to report. No. I do want to apologize to everyone for not attending the early February meeting, but want to thank Vice President Kirby Gonzalez for presiding over that meeting. Last Saturday, I attended the second annual math competition at Elkhorn, and Superintendent Luna was there. I was able to sit down and have some conversations with the parents and the students, and the need for MESA to stay on our campuses, and I'm sure we're going to be hearing soon about a grant that will be terminating this year. So the parents and teachers and staff saw me there and said, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? And the students were just excellent. They built some things with uncooked spaghetti and marshmallows, and they were eager to show up to me. I took some pictures, and the parents were very excited about that math competition, and I understand and the teachers and the volunteers, it was just an exciting place to be, and I know it's going out to Bridgeway also. So that was an exciting time. Let's see, what else? I wanted to give a shout out to River City, of course. You know, I'm biased because my son goes there, so I always have to give a shout out, and I always have to harass Stan, and even Don. He's out there all the time. But yes, I was excited about basketball season being over. I love basketball, but it was a lot of work, and the JV boys did very well. They ended up in a 13-1 season. The golf club is off to a full swing, and there's no pun to that, but they're doing great. It's unfortunate we don't have a local golf course because they have to go out to Hagen Oaks. We also have the boys volleyball and the girls soccer, and there's just a lot of things happening out there. So if you get bored, there's plenty of things to do, plenty of students to go watch. And the elementary school basketball programs are off and running also. Also want to just give a shout out to Hainless Toyota in Davis, because for the second year in a row, they've donated $10,000 to the River City Athletic Booster Club. And that helps us to be able to give scholarships to our students out there. So we want to thank them again. And on April 24th, it's a Sunday coming up, the River City Athletic Boosters Clubs are going to be hosting a fundraising basketball game with the Wizards. It's our own WUSD Slammers versus the Wizards, and there's actually VIP seating, and we will be scouting soon. There will be tryouts from all the school sites, so if you're interested in being on our WUSD Slammer basketball team, we'll be having tryouts soon, so keep your eye open for that. And I do want to wish all the kindergarten registration sites a safe registration. And thank all the volunteers for coming out and spending their Saturday to register all of our little ones. And I usually stop by, so I'm excited to see that come out. And with that, can we have a superintendent comments?
Good evening, President Cruz, Board of Trustees, and guests. Tonight I have a fairly short update on what's going on in the district. There's lots going on. So I'll begin first by giving a shout out to our CTE department. That was pretty incredible. I hadn't seen it yet either, but I can't wait to share it tonight when I get home on my Facebook page. It just makes me really, really proud to be a part of this incredible district. And we are a fairly large district in that there's so much going on, it's hard to communicate out all that is happening. But when we really look at our commitment to every student, college and career ready, that's exactly the work that we observed this evening. And to hear the kids have choice of where they're going to go and have the classes and the courses and the pathways that they're experiencing here in our district to have an impact on their future. That's what we're really all about. So just a shout out to all CTE staff and students. And by the way, my husband does need one of those cubby keepers because he's constantly losing his keys. And I could really use one of those pet feeders as we're constantly asking who has fed the dog. So I just think it's really great that our kids are so creative. I want to thank President Cruz, as she mentioned, for coming out on last Saturday at the Elkhorn math competition. I was really touched by being at Elkhorn on Saturday. It's a Saturday. The kids were there by 8 o'clock, and they were ready to go. I don't know how many kids really are ready to go back to school on a Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. And the cafeteria was packed of their families to support them and to cheer them on while they went into the competition. And in this next picture, what you're going to see is we have our teacher who spearheaded the whole thing, Anselmo Marin, and he was fabulous. What a great find for our district. And I also understand his fiance is a teacher in our district. So He actually hosted this entire event. We had lots of staff there from Elkhorn supporting the event. You see both of the site administrators there. And then the beauty of it is that you have a parent volunteer there, Ms. Valdez there. But she's there for a specific reason. It's because she went to school there. Now her children go to school there. And that's why she's there, to do anything she can to have her students succeed. So it was really a touching day. It was really great. And here is a final snapshot of all the winners. Now, these aren't all the participants. These are just the first, second, third place winners of all the grade levels. And I'm really glad I didn't have to take the test. I was kind of afraid to even look at it. And it wasn't the old-fashioned choose A, B, C, D. They had to do an individualized test, just like in the AP testing, where you're in your own space and not at round tables. And then they had to do a group test that I think was sponsored and supported by UC Davis. So they had to work in a group of 4 in order to pass through the second round of the competition. No matter whether they placed with a medal, first, second, or third place, every student got a really cool T-shirt. So every student was a winner that day. And to me, when we challenge our kids, they will rise to it. When we know and treat them as math experts, they will be math experts. And so this was just a prime example of what our kids can do. I also wanted to share that the district became a partner with the California Language and Learning Innovation Collaborations. It's not necessarily a program. What it is it's an opportunity for a school district to collaborate with other school districts that are similar in the English language learner program. In other words, we are all working together to help the achievement, raise the achievement of English learners, particularly in these districts. The districts in this particular, we call it Cali, are all pretty much from the Central Valley, and they even came from Southern California and moved all the way up the valley, way past the Sacramento area, of school districts that have similar student demographics as we do. And we've become a part of it to be able to increase our network of problem solving and networking and growing our collegiality in doing the same work. Basically, here's what it is. It's about reflection and discussion. We can implement programs, we can buy curriculum, we can get a lot of staff in place, but the bottom line is we have to figure out how we got here, own how we got here, and then make the right plan on how to move forward and help our kids really succeed and achieve. So it's pretty exciting. It's not like a cost anything. It's not like a program that you buy. It's really a process. It's a process of colleagues really thinking about their work. And so it's a pretty exciting opportunity. It was by invitation. You had to go through an application and interview. They had to interview me. We had to give commitment that, yes, the superintendent will be here. There will be no turnover. The board is committed to student achievement of English learners. That was what they were really looking for. So I think you're going to be able to hear a little bit more about it as we start to include more teachers and more administration in the discussions. Saturday is going to be an exciting morning, and everybody will go, phew, come noon. And that is, we've been waiting for this kinder registration on Saturday morning. There's a lot of buzz going around, and people are waiting to get in line to be a part of registering their kinder student. I just want to give a thank you to Trustee Alcala for attending our information night at Elkhorn on the Spanish dual immersion program. I want you to know that as much as we have advertised this, and it's been in the Sun, it's been in the newsletter, it's been in constant contact, there are still many people that don't know about it. I attended the Chamber of Commerce board meeting this week, and I really spoke about this, and they had no idea. So we're going to get that whole Chamber of Commerce connected onto Constant Contact, because they need to stay abreast of really what's happening in the city of West Sacramento and the great things that are happening for our kids in the future. March 2nd is Read Across America Day, and it's also tied to Dr. Seuss's birthday. And so generally what happens is people are invited to come and be guests, and guests bring books to leave as gifts to classrooms. I'm excited to, I was invited to at least 3 schools, so I'll be reading at Stonegate, Bridgeway Island, and Westmore Oaks, and I'm pretty excited. I have some standard books that I always leave the classrooms, and it's always a very, very touching and very moving day as kids just are excited about reading. On Saturday, March 12th, we have a Teacher and Parent University happening over at River City High School. So the teachers are going to be starting at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're going to be going through a full staff development day. And kudos to the curriculum department and to the teachers, to the TOSAs who are putting this all together, because it's a chance for teachers to come and just be with their colleagues and talk and share and learn and get ideas from each other. Those are just some of the topics that are being offered to the teachers. I think I'm going to have to probably go to one of them that's not written there, and it's Google 101. As we move towards the whole Google education, we all need to become much more proficient in that. So that's on the teacher part. We are also hosting a parent university that day, where parents will be invited to come. I believe their time starts at 9:30. The parents will be given workshops. We will have translators so that all the workshops will be translated for parents into Spanish or Russian according to what their preference is. Those are some of the topics that will be provided for our parents, and we're really excited to see how this goes. We know how important the parent component is to the partnership of a school district and to the success of our kids. So that's pretty exciting, March 12th. Looking ahead, we are assessing and evaluating our systems and programs. It's always good to take a look at what we're doing, right? So under the heading of every 3rd grade student will be proficient in reading, we need to look at what are we using in our curriculum? How can we better support our teachers? How can we better support the standards initiative into our classrooms? And are our programs effective? I think those are always good questions to ask and address. We've heard comments quite a bit from the board about early childhood education, and we are committed to looking at our transitional kindergarten program and what that might bring to 4-year-old students here in West Sacramento. We'd rather have them in our schools, train them on that first day, than to wait until they turn 5 years old. So we're looking at that. We have facilities issues, let's just say it, we really do. We're impacted, and we also need to redo a lot of our facilities, which is why we're so grateful that the city and our citizens, our voting community, has supported our school district with the bond. And so we're working on that, and we're gonna take these steps slowly and make sure that we have the facilities to best suit our kids. And that's my update tonight. Are there any questions? Great, thank you so much.
Nope. Thank you so much. We are to action items. N1, approval of resolution number 1516-16, approving field trips for the Student Host Program in support of Farm Connection Day, April 29, 2016. Superintendent Luna.
Thank you, President Cruz. This resolution is being brought forward for the board. In Yolo County, the 4-H and Yolo County Farm Bureau have been sponsoring a day called Farm Connection Day, and it's for students in Yolo County to take a field trip. And so this resolution came from the County Office of Education as we're trying to support all of our students to have real life experiences in their field trips. And so this resolution opens the opportunity for schools who are interested in attending to go ahead and move forward and attend at their interest.
there any comments or questions?
Can we go too?
You probably could, actually, yes.
There's no comments or question. I need a motion to approve the resolution number 1516-16.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. This is resolution, so it's a roll call vote. Trustee Pizzotti.
Aye.
Trustee Villegas.
Aye.
Trustee Alcala.
Aye.
Trustee Kirby Gonzalez.
Aye.
And I too vote aye. Item N2, approval of 2015-16 comprehensive school site safety plans, educational services. Mr. Spalding.
Good evening again, President Cruz, members of the board, Superintendent Luna. I've brought Jerry Smith from our Director of Student and Family Support Services to present on the school safety plans. This is an annual function that we do, but there's a little bit of a twist that he's going to explain to you, and there's some continuing work that we're going to do in dealing with crisis management.
Thank you. Good evening, President Cruz, board members. This is the annual requirement where we have to present and get approval by March 1st of each year for each of the comprehensive school site safety plans. We present them to you tonight for the first time for this district, at least during the time that I've been here, in electronic form. Traditionally, we brought the binders here, and they really haven't had an opportunity to be looked at. I know you can't sit there and look at each one in detail, but you have the opportunity to go back and see them now. They're all in electronic fashion. The one big change this year is that we have gone to a common template for each one of the school sites. So when you look at the site plans, you'll see that there's a common plan in each one of them all the way through. There'll be some different information there depending on the safety committee from each school site, ingress, egress details, evacuation routes, things of that sort are going to be different obviously for each school. But the information meets all the requirements. It's a template that we've found that was been used for a couple of years from Stanislaus County, and it seems to be real appropriate for us and works real well. Also, when we do this tonight, traditionally, there's been one of those things, we take the binders back, we give them to the schools, and everybody just kind of goes away and puts them on the shelf. Our plan at this point in time, we're going for something much deeper. Earlier this week, Superintendent Luna and myself and numerous people from the district office, as well as safety committee members from the district, and our new safety liaison for the district, administratively, Mrs. Rodriguez from River City High School, went to Sac County Office of Ed and started the process of developing a new crisis response plan for our district, which includes anything from earthquakes, floods, active shooters on campus, et cetera. It's a process we're going to be continuing through the spring, and when that is revised past what we have in our school site safety plans now, it'll be infused into those programs, into the plans themselves. So we're excited about going to the next level and making our program a lot better and obviously in the long run a lot safer. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
No. No, not.
Trustee Kirby Gonzalez has a little one.
A little question. Okay.
Well, I noticed there is a theme. It's nice that they're streamlined and that they're similar. It makes it a lot easier to read. And so this would just be a small thing, but Washington Unified School District mission and operating principles. It says on all of the, at least the elementary ones I looked at, we manage our work by the facts as number 7, to inspire trust, seek mutual benefit, and to act in the best interest of those we serve. We will rely on data. We will gather, analyze, and act on data about SCOE. I was thinking that's SCOE, like Sac County Office of Ed, their services.
It's actually probably Stanislaus County. They should have,
okay,
the
so
template
that's
should have
one
been
that's
changed
in,
there.
okay.
That's 90, I bet that's exactly what it is.
Okay, so that
Okay.
one is in at least Bridgeway, and I'm on Elkhorn right now.
Okay.
So on number 7, for mission and operating principles, it says that we'll use SCOE services,
You
which
got it.
would be.
I'll check and make sure on all of them that,
Great.
I bet some of them have made that change and some made the mistake and bypassed it. I'll make
Well, I
sure it gets
thought, I looked
corrected.
at it and thought, are we using SCOE, sir? I was confused.
No, it's
So-
actually, it's Stanislaus County, but
Okay.
they use the same acronym. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay,
Thank you, I
that's
appreciate
all.
that too.
Any more comments, questions?
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
With that, I need a motion to approve the 2015-16 school site safety plans.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are to consent agenda items, and I understand there may be some amendments. Superintendent Luna?
Thank you, President Cruz. The district requests 2 amendments to the agenda for this evening. We request for the board to accept 2 additional resignations to the certificated personnel list under consent agenda item number 0.4. I believe that Business Services also has an amendment to 0.15, so I'll allow, please have Scott Landsberger, our Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, explain the amendment for that.
The amendment to consent item 015 is the write-up for the contract has the correct funding amount of $750. However, the contract that was attached online had a contract amount of $3,000. The paper contract that you have in front of you has a correct amount of $750, so when the board approves action item 015, the contract is for $750, not $3,000.
Oh, good. We saved $2,000 already.
Good.
Is there any comments or question on those amendments? No. That, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda with the amendment stated?
So moved.
Is there Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are to board governance. We are to approval, the second read of board policies and administration regulations 6141, paren A, paren B, paren C, and 6161.1, educational services. Is that you, Mr. Spalding?
It is. Thank you, President Cruz. This is the second and final reading of the board policy that we brought at the last meeting, board policy and administrative regulations regarding curriculum and instructional materials adoption. And it was the section that you just read off. So what we're looking for is the board to make that final approval on this policy and administrative regulation.
Are there any comments or questions on the second read of the board policies, the 6141 and the 6161? No comments, no questions? You don't need approval on that, do you?
Actually, you do. This is the final approval. So the first time you approved the first read, and this is the second and final read where you're actually approving the actual policy.
So all those that approve, state aye.
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 Five ayes.
Do you need a motion?
You want a motion
Do you
for an approval? Because it's not on the consent, it's just under board governance. Should we do it anyway?
Under
Can we
this
do it?
particular, because it is second reading and final, we need a board action to approve the policy as it reads. At the last meeting, you did not approve, you just did a first read.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get a motion to approve the second read of the board policy 6141 and 6161.
I
So
move.
moved. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item P2, the first read of Series 9000 of the board bylaws, superintendent.
Thank you, trustees. This is our first read of the board bylaws, and what I would like to do is walk the board through the specific changes that need the board's either discussion or directive of how to move forward on the options provided for the Board of Trustees in the board bylaws. We are reviewing these board bylaws because these board bylaws have been reviewed last on May 12th, 2005. And quite a bit of language has been changed over these past 11 years. It's changed so much that we did not do the striking out of old language. Instead, it was just going to be cleaner to provide you the most updated legislation, the most updated education codes and legal language for a fresh start of board bylaws. So if you'll walk with me on these particular pages, your board bylaws have been paginated. And for the board's attention, on page 8, on the second paragraph, it regards public statements authorized to be made on behalf of the board. We want to make sure before having finalized the language that the board is choosing to have the board president and, when appropriate, the superintendent speak on behalf of the board.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
So it says that they would be authorized. Does that mean before a statement's made that everyone would agree upon it? Or does that mean, news media comes up and board president speaks on behalf of the board? I was just trying to understand.
Authorized would be the consensus of the entire board, that you are directing the board president or the superintendent to make a statement on behalf of the district. And that's what the authorization stands for.
And is that only for media, or is that?
In general, it's for media or for any kind of public event in which a statement must be made. Generally, it's for the media. So there's a time when a board trustee speaks individually, and then there's a time when generally the board president must speak on behalf of the entire board, such as at graduation, such as a press release, something like that.
Okay, what about supporting or, certain legislation or things like that?
The board would then take action on a resolution to support legislation, and then the board could direct a board member to then represent the district and the Board of Trustees on behalf of that particular resolution. Yeah. So it doesn't always have to be the board president. That would be a separate, these are really about public statements.
So we wouldn't necessarily see the public statement, and I'm supportive of this, I'm just figuring out the logistics. So if there was a public statement made by the board president, it's not necessarily something that we would have seen.
For my practice as your superintendent, I would send you the common message. Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, I'm trying to think about Brown Act and if there's not a meeting, how that looks. And so I was just trying to figure out the logistics of what that would look like if you were giving a statement.
Right, and that's why it would
Okay.
come from the superintendent as an information item. Then
Great.
that way, there's no violation of the Brown Act.
Okay, perfect, thank
Yeah,
you.
and
Okay.
for this year, I'm thinking, I'll speak on me. Linda and I will always confer, and then as she said, she would give it to the rest of the board. But I do have a question, because we did have Senor Yorgos appear not too long ago on Channel 40 giving a statement. So
Correct.
how does that fit in with when it says?
He would be the designated
designate,
representative.
And when we say public statement, I mean, on that occasion, it was made on his behalf, and we just heard it. So, I mean, when we talk about, do we get to see it ahead of time? I know things happen on the spur of the
Right.
moment.
Right.
So, just kind of wondering how that happens. If personally, as a board member, I don't like seeing stuff on TV and not knowing something's going to be said. 'Cause we have
Absolutely.
people to answer to.
Right, absolutely. And we'll always work hard to ensure that the board is always informed first. Unfortunately, in that particular predicament, it's always better to make a statement for the public. With the media, we want to work collaboratively with our media. And so Yorgos Kazanis is our designated representative if we really need a statement from the district on the administrative side of practices or an incident that may have occurred. So do you want to just continue moving forward unless?
Yeah, we don't need to make a motion on every one.
No.
No, I was
Okay.
just making sure everybody.
Because I was ready for you if you need
All
me
right,
to.
if I can move you to page 16, it's about the election of officers. The board bylaws have two options in which the board can elect officers. The option one has to do with the board taking action for each of the offices. Option two is just an entire slate. So it's really up to the board how you would like to do that. There's also a number of which the board needs to decide how many consecutive years a board member may serve in that office.
Is this new language?
It may be, I've always seen this language. It may be new to the bylaws that were approved quite a while ago.
Linda, I have a question. I know I've gone to other board meetings and they say maybe someone's been president for 4 or 5 years. Is that permissible too?
So long as your policy allows that, and that's why that third line, no board member shall serve more than blank consecutive years in the same office. So if the board would like to think about that more and then come back to the second read, you can also give more direction on the second read, and we can go to a third read for final approval. We can think more about this if you'd like.
I have a quick question. What's closest to what we do now, option 1 or option 2? 2, right?
I think 2 is what we do now.
Okay,
Don't we currently do year to year? Isn't that
every year.
right?
We do,
And every office goes up and then.
Every year.
Yeah.
but
Keep
there's,
broke, don't fix.
there's
But
never.
Alicia served twice as president, so we
I
did
know,
2 years.
I know, that's why I was.
And we
I was-
haven't always gone with who has not previously served in
Yeah.
office. So while I think that, kind of the natural fit when you're up here, ideally, I think it's nice to to move it around and to have everybody have, a policy. But I do think that that's a little bit binding or limiting option 1, in terms of if there's a situation or, who knows what's going to happen with an election or a piece. I don't think necessarily it needs to always default to who has not ever held that office.
Right.
So I think option 1 is too limiting because it is still the board that's voting.
Right.
I agree.
But I do like the idea of, moving through who has opportunities, of course, but.
And that sound
So I would
reasoning.
go with option 2.
Can we modify option 1, or do we have to stick with that exact language?
It's up to the, you may
can
modify
amend,
the
yeah.
language.
So it doesn't
Or
have to
just-
be exact.
Or I would just say option 2.
Me too.
It's just then you vote and.
Okay. And do we have any comments or questions on the consecutive years? I mean, I will give my 2 cents for what it's worth. I personally think maybe 2 years should be the same, because I think the first year, now that I've experienced as a president, you're learning. The second year, hopefully you get it. And then I think you're absolutely right. Not to say that every year somebody's gonna serve 2 years, but that would be the max they could serve before somebody would have to. And you're on the board for 4 years, so you would have, if, at least 2 years if you're elected 1, 2, So if I'm continuing on the board in the next 4 years, then next year, obviously, I could not be president.
I don't necessarily agree with having a max term, because some people may just be really, really good at this. And therefore, they should be president, or they should be vice president, or they should be clerk. They may have better qualities than others at a leadership role like that. However, if you have to rotate them through, sometimes you can lose that. So I would say maybe not putting necessarily a cap on it, but if you want to rotate it through, that's fine. But, some people are going to be up here for years and years and years.
Really?
I'm thinking,
It's
Ms.
consecutive.
Cruz.
It's consecutive,
It's
though. I mean, I
consecutive.
think
Yeah.
that's the key.
Right,
It's not a
but that's
maximum
just
on
I think that's my
take a
point.
year off
No,
and
I
come
could
back.
take a year, you could take a year off and then
If
be
you
voted.
wanted to, you could,
Yeah.
but that's your choice, not being
I
imposed.
see, because you actually, even if you're nominated for president a 3rd year, you can decline it.
Right, that's my point.
So that's what he's saying.
If
And I
you
guess
have
the
a-
only, I mean, if we're thinking about unforeseen things that could happen in the future, if there's an election and 3 people are new,
Right.
and there was 1 existing, and then 1 moves away and resigns, I mean, who knows what there might be someday. So I guess it would be, to me, it would be limiting to do that, but I think our policy and practice of us up here, an agreement would just move
Yeah.
things around, but it doesn't have to be in policy.
I just don't like the idea of limiting it in policy. I mean, we may have an unwritten practice.
2 years as clerk is enough.
Let's harass her more by letting her do it longer.
I was trying to give me a 2-year limit. So, it sounds like to me, and I'm okay with it, we just want to do option 2, period. Does that sound right to everybody?
Fine by me.
Norma?
I'm fine with that.
So strike the third statement, no board, and without putting a cap on the years of service.
Correct.
in the office, so we will strike that.
As
Got
well
it.
as option 1.
Okay.
We
And
can
just
come back to that, right?
just go option 2.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, the next option for the board to discuss is on page 19. This particular option talks about the president's rights as a member of the board as a whole. In addition, it really is addressing if a president resigns, how does the board then function? What's the guidance if the president resigns? So option 1 talks a little bit different than option 2. We currently have our setup of a president, a vice president, and a clerk. And that's why those options are there. Not all boards have that.
I'll just jump in and say I like option 2 only because
I think so too.
right now, and I think probably in the future, I would hope the president and the vice president work together. So when meetings don't happen, that the vice president's able to jump in.
And then the clerk. The nice thing is
Yeah, I'm good with option 2, too. I'll
Okay.
work with you, too.
And it has 3 checks and balances, so you don't have to try to scramble if you have
Right.
somebody, everybody knows what happens.
So option 2?
Got it.
That's right.
Our next article is on page 26, and it's about contacting our legal counsel. This particular language I'm bringing to the board because I've heard 2 different practices, and I just think it's good to just clarify it. There's one practice of having the superintendent and the board president be the people to contact legal counsel on behalf of the board. There is another practice where all board members have the rights to contact legal counsel. So it is really up to the board's discretion, but I think it should probably be clarified for good practice.
I'll let somebody else start.
So for this one, I like superintendent, board president. I do think that there are sometimes situations when a board member may have a question, I don't know, conflict or for example, there was a time when, I wanted to make a call about pumping laws. And, I didn't feel comfortable going to the president of that, and I didn't feel comfortable going to the superintendent. And so I went to the lawyer for that, but it certainly was not an ongoing conversation. So I think that there are times when a board member might have something that they need to speak to, and I would always err on the side of, we want legal opinion. We don't pay for a lawyer to come to all of our meetings, and some place like city councils often do. So I feel like for me, I want every board member to make sure that they are feeling good with the law, but I don't think it should be an abuse, right? I don't think we should pick up the phone and just call the lawyer for anything. So I think some places might have like language, the top of the language, but then also something about how a board member could reach out, but then I don't know what it would look like to limit that. They can only reach out, however many billable hours, and if it's more, they have to come back and get, consent from the board, or it needs to go through the board president. But I do think that there should be a little bit of leeway because we can't anticipate what sensitive things there might be in the future. And
I agree. I actually had chosen number 1, but I think in extenuating circumstances, maybe there's a process you go through or something to talk to, because it has come up and we have needed to do that before. So I don't want to limit that.
I agree with Katie and Sarah on this issue. The legal counsel is our counsel, and while it should definitely be the president and the superintendent that makes the main contact, there are going to be times when maybe we have, questions that involve what the superintendent has done, or questions that maybe, the president has done, or I'm not saying that you guys would do anything bad, but I'm just saying, what if we have questions on things that are going on that we need to know about for clarification purposes, that we want to be in touch with the attorney on its own. So I tend to agree with both Sarah and Katie.
But hopefully it would be in the exception because it is
Right,
a cost to the
absolutely,
district.
in the minority, you're right.
I would wonder if there's any language out there that places have that, I think there might be somewhere where
Some
we could
existing.
maybe even look at what they have where it's a limited.
I can ask our legal counsel.
Thank you.
I know, I would say the process right now has worked, in my opinion, pretty good. I know all board members have maybe even asked me or maybe Linda about issues, and Linda's been pretty good about contacting them and getting back to us. So, I agree with what, everybody else is saying. There are times, but, it shouldn't be abused.
No, I agree.
I mean, I will say prior to our superintendent we have now, she's not new anymore. I think all of us probably, called the attorney quite a bit before, but we didn't have the communication that you provide to us now, so.
Okay. And Linda, listening to everything, I agree with the board. Maybe we can consolidate somehow, add wording that would encompass everything that's being said.
Absolutely. I will seek legal counsel on the interests here about a little bit of flexibility there.
We'll call him too.
Yeah. Okay, so we will bring that for attention of second reading for sure. If I can turn to page 34 with you. On page 34, the language here in the middle of the page talks about when a student petition has requested preferential voting rights for our student board member. Now, our current practice is that we do not have our student representative have an actual vote. I've not necessarily seen that, but that's just my limited experience. So it's up to the board to discuss. I just thought I'd better bring that to you because it's a different practice than what we do here.
What does that mean exactly? So she would just be able to say, yes, I agree with that, but it wouldn't really count?
She would be granted certain voting rights for the open session agenda with the exception of closed session. She would not be able to have any voting rights in closed session. He or she would not be attending closed session. Instead, they would actually be voting.
But it would be in the minutes, but it would not count towards the action.
Decision.
It's
Based on my reading
preferential.
of it. Yep.
Okay. I know
Wait,
Sacramento.
say that again?
It's preferential voting. It doesn't necessarily count as the legal vote.
And Linda,
There's
I
a
have a question.
tiebreaker. It's more
Our
like a
student
statement.
representative, is she elected or is she appointed from her student body?
Stan's
I'm not
gone.
sure about that. I will find out. I turned around.
Not
to see if
appointed?
Stan is here.
Dawn knows.
She's appointed by leadership.
Oh, from her school, okay.
Yeah.
I know Sacramento. I attended one of their board meetings and they did have the student and, she was actually, well, we had the resolution passed that all seniors, just like in Yolo County, should have the voter registration and education class. She actually had a vote, so.
And
just something to consider.
I've seen student board members also much more engaged in terms of really asking, what do you think on this? Or, having more dialogue. I would say maybe our meetings go late. As we know, at times, people have work to do. So I might think this is another one where if there's a topic, maybe we can work to include a board member more, but it's not necessarily that student board member has to stay every meeting. But if there's
Yeah.
one that's,
So she doesn't get penalized for not voting on things?
but that we could try to incorporate he or she more if there's a topic of interest. Maybe the board president can touch base and say, is there one that you want to stay for today? And we'll call on you with the discussion. I don't know. That might be a way that I could see it working well and helping the student board member to feel more elevated. And, this is a resume builder for them too. And then for us to have just one more voice on key issues for a high school.
Yeah, and difference of opinion too, just real quick, little anecdote. When we were there, some of the board members were saying, yes, young people don't want to vote and so on and so forth. We know they're not. And she spoke up. She says, that's not true. She had a very different view on things.
And probably the most important phrase is before that, the preferential voting rights is that it's by student petition. So if the student population provided a petition to the board to have their student representative have that preferential voting right, that's when the board would discuss it and look at the policy and act accordingly.
But doesn't that seem a little disingenuous? You're gonna have the students petition the board to have a seat on the board to have a fake vote.
Well, I think what it ends up being is that the student voice has a little bit of a, what's the word I'm trying to look for? It has an influence on prior to the board's decision.
Can we just take that out of there, though? Can we just have her have a preferential vote? And is that what you're saying, Kobe? I mean, it
I think
seems
she
silly
should
to
be
have
able
the
to have a
students
vote.
bring a,
I mean, personally,
petition.
but that's just me.
can we just have her have a preferential vote? And so we can get the student perspective without the
I was gonna
students
say,
having to
why can't we just get her
petition?
perspective without a vote? I mean, because it,
Well, I mean, anybody could stay in the audience and make public comment. I mean, effectively, that's what you would be doing. I certainly would love to hear what her perspective is on how things are going at the high school, or how things are going at the district, the other schools in the district that she might know about. But furthermore, I would like to hear how she would vote on things. I mean, you know, this is a step forward for them in terms of maybe getting more civically engaged. And, you know, I would encourage, you know, any student to become more active and more, you know, involved in government. I would love for them to have a vote.
Then we'll be tied up here because it's an even number.
I know,
Well,
and
no,
that's
no,
what I'm
doesn't-
saying. I'm saying
No,
a
no, they
preferential
don't
vote.
have
The
the
preferential
It
vote.
doesn't
No,
preferential
it doesn't
vote.
count.
it doesn't count.
No, I know, but Kobe wants her to have a.
Oh, I would love that. I'm saying that.
No, he said he would love, yeah.
No, I love the idea of that. That would be great. I know that can't happen. I'm just saying.
But
I
with the
love idea
petition
of it.
from the students, I mean, I don't know, I guess I'm just kind of confused because she will
Remove the
be, she will
petition
be an
part.
individual, we will be listening to her as a student, not the student voice. So, I mean, I get, we want to hear a young person, and I do want to hear her, but it would be hers. I don't want it to be mistaken that she's talking on behalf of all of the leadership. And that, to me, when a student petition is, you know, for preferential voting rights, I don't want the leadership students to think she's making a decision on behalf of them. That, it's gonna be only her. I mean, they're basically giving her a voice. Go ahead and speak,
But isn't she
it's
the
not on our
designate?
behalf.
Isn't she the designate?
Well, right now, she's just telling us what's going on at the schools.
Oh.
So, I mean, whoever, she, he, whoever it is, needs to understand it's their individual voice. I wouldn't want the pressure from her students, her classmates in leadership, you know. So, I mean, that would be something, and when I see, when a student petition has, you know, so if we get a petition, that's coming from all of leadership saying, yes, go ahead and speak on our behalf. That's how I'm looking at it, versus
What about
not
the
having the
supervisor president?
petition and just having her on the board, telling us her, and giving her individual.
Right.
Because
What
she can't
about-
really speak on all of leadership, just like we can't speak on all of West Sac.
But they're not petitioning for an individual cause or per vote, right? Because even if this petition did, it's, then that person can vote on all matters, except closed session, of course. So it's not as though they're just have a single issue, all the student body has said, yes, we agree, go speak for us on that. It's saying that once this happens, that the student would then vote on all things pertaining to out here, just like I would say, you know, we represent constituents as well, but we speak up here from our voice, but we're representing constituents. So I would think that it would be a similar relationship that they would have.
I guess the bottom line is I don't think we need a petition. That's
I
all I'm
second
saying.
that.
I would agree with that.
That's
I
all I'm
agree
saying.
with that.
We
You
don't need a petition.
I
Because
would agree with
I
that.
think it puts her in she or he in a position.
So we will strike the first 6 words from that particular paragraph. And the other thing to consider is when we if and when the board does grant this to the student, in order for the student to meaningfully participate in your discussions, he or she will need some guidance on on the board agenda and just the whole operations and governance part of it, and what the topics actually truly mean from a governance level. So,
And also staying out late.
yes, yeah. So it's more than just giving her, he or she, preferential voting rights and having their voice heard on particular items. There will be a lot of training prior to each board meeting if this becomes an ongoing process for a student to project and have preferential.
But wouldn't that be the student's call?
It is the student's call. Yeah, it would be the student's call.
If they choose to participate like that.
Correct.
Then that's their call to do.
Right. And it may just be one topic, maybe, in a few meetings, right?
And, yeah, and in this, it has, the superintendent or designee shall, at the district expense, provide learning opportunities for them. Trainings, workshops, conferences. And also I did notice in here that, she or he can be reimbursed for mileage.
As the board is. And so that is part of the language that I was going to have the board discuss, whether you are supposed to be, whether you're choosing that or not. If you choose to not be reimbursed, then she would not be reimbursed because the language is as the trustees are.
I guess an example would be CSBA has student board members who are there sometimes. That would probably be an example, I would think.
Okay, so we'll bring that back without the first 6 words there, okay? On page 39, this particular language is about options on how to address tie votes in board elections.
Can you explain what resolved by lot means?
Resolved by lot is by determining if you have 2 people who are tied in the election, the board will then choose.
No. We have to choose enough.
You'd bring them back in and they'd
You have to
make a
bring them
statement
back
and
in.
you'd pick, the board would pick whoever they, okay.
So, how does that happen?
That has never happened in the history that I know of myself.
Of mankind, I mean.
I'm sure it's happened somewhere, but.
Where there was a natural
It'll happen
tie.
this time if we
I
don't
know,
put
it
this
will.
in.
Yeah, right, no.
The
never
option
seen that.
3 takes that out,
Yeah.
takes the board out of having a runoff election.
That's what I'm.
Then that way,
President.
you know,
And that costs the district money.
It does cost the district money. We have to follow the law on what a runoff election would be. Option 2 brings the tie candidates to the board to appear before the board, and the board could do another round of interviews, and then the board would select.
Let me ask you this question. Wouldn't that potentially open us up to another legal battle if we did that?
But by appointment, you mean? It would be
Yeah,
similar to that?
after an election?
It's possible. I can ask our legal counsel if that would open us up to that, if you'd like.
I'm most comfortable with the runoff. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be the
Yeah,
normal,
I want no part of
taking
that.
us out of it, and, you know, I hope
Okay.
this would never
Let the
happen.
community decide.
Save the money,
Yeah.
but still,
But we,
that's,
it would still cost us money
it would.
as a runoff.
But it's always transparent also.
It would, but the likelihood
Put it out in
is
the
low and it
universe that
makes
it's not gonna
sense.
happen.
Okay, so
Here's more
we're
transparent.
choosing option 3 on that then?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next one is page 51. This is regarding setting aside monies in the school district budget for board development. And that would be attending CSBA trainings and workshops, being members of CSBA, paying for Gamut Online fees so that the board will always have access to the most recent legislative changes to policy. We don't necessarily have to put an amount per se, although this language here is about if a board member would like to go to specific trainings having to do with education, then if that is the board's interest, then the board should set a cap or a limit that each board member would be able to go to board development that does not exceed the cost of blank.
Would CSBA board governance, the masters in governance
Yes.
classes be under this? If
It
you were to
would
take
be.
a master's in governance?
Yes.
And how much is that training?
I can get that cost together. I think the Masters of Governance would be a great thing for all of us to attend, myself included. So I can mock up some costs, and we can come back to what the projected costs might be, which would then include Masters of Governance. It would also include, because a Masters in Government would take care of any new board member coming onto the board, and also the CSBA conference each year. And I can just do some projected costs, and then we can bring that to the board for the second read.
I actually think that any of us that want to go to CSBA, I mean, hopefully we have enough money in our budget and good times that we can all go, and if we wanted to.
Absolutely.
And I think that
Yeah.
there's been years when we haven't had that ability, and I just think that it's an important thing to do as a board member, both that and the Masters in Governance. I think it's important to invest in our board members.
Okay.
Well, and to be transparent, I don't know if we were on the board at the time, but I know I've seen in the past, I think we were on the board when
were.
they had discussion about who
Who could
could
go
go
and
to
who couldn't.
CSBA, you know,
Yeah.
if you've already gone, then you can't go and this and that. But I personally, I think that's moot. I think we should all go. Every year there's something different. But I think I would like to throw out there, and just in abundance to be transparent to our community and everyone, is if there is a class beyond CSBA or Masters of Governance, that the whole board should have to discuss it. I don't think, somebody should just, go on a whim and want to go on a $3,000 workshop. That maybe for one, other board members may want to go, but I think we should think about some kind of wording on there to also, that you couldn't just call up the superintendent and say, I want to go on a workshop, because I don't want to put the superintendent in a position to have to make that decision without the rest of the board discussing it. So I definitely think CSBA, because that's always, we have a few small other things, but I think some kind of language,
Okay.
Or Lisa, how about a cap? So if you don't go to CSBA, you could do this certain thing or something, where it's a cap on every board member. So one person's not going to 50 million different things, but to go, there's a realistic cap that we can't spend more than this, and this is our training budget for the year.
I don't mind a cap, I just don't want to ever have to put the superintendent in a position
that
to decide if she,
Can afford to send this
yeah,
somewhere. Right.
if Pizzati can go to the Super Bowl because it's an educational
No,
purposes and the rest of us
no.
can't, So I just don't want to put her in that position, because I think that's a board
Awkward.
decision.
I would hate
Yeah.
to put any of you to keep me from going to the Super Bowl.
So just looking
We'll
at
get
some
legal
language,
counsel to get some language on that, and we'll bring that back for the
And
second
if it's a
read.
cap, I'm fine with a cap too, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we can see page 52, the very next page. At this time, each board member receives a monthly compensation.
You just say priceless.
I'm not quite aware, I'm not quite sure exactly how much it is. per-
240.
I think, is it
243?
244?
244.
243,
Sometimes
244?
242.
I think that's after taxes, is
Oh.
244.
Well, I think on our website, though, it says the exact amount.
Okay.
It says under,
So what I can do is put that amount there. I apologize for not having that amount, but I guess it begs the question for transparency, if the board is going to increase that monthly compensation.
252.
Or
$252
$252 per
I was
month.
gonna say,
a month.
do I hear it once?
So is it the board's interest to keep it at that same amount?
There are no comments.
Linda,
Yes.
how is it normally calculated?
It is up to the board's discretion on what the monthly compensation should be.
Is it a random amount?
It is up to the, whatever the board decides.
But how did you come up with 252? Why not just
That was
250?
probably way before my time.
No, it's here in paragraph 2.
Oh,
The amount not to exceed 5% based on the present monthly rate of what is that?
say what?
It's, you are unable to receive more than a 5% increase to the $252.
Is that normally calculated by how many students there are in the district?
No, it
random
is,
thing.
it is determined by the board, what the board is to receive as a monthly compensation.
Do you know what other surrounding districts get?
I can look into that.
Just curious.
There is no rhyme or reason. Many school districts are voluntary and receive absolutely no compensation.
Well, I was just thinking of Norma, because last year when I had that assignment, driving to Woodland, it's a 50-mile round trip, and it's a lot. I mean, it's, I would usually go there from work. But
Well, we have,
I never got
243
mileage
very
for
well.
that.
We actually
even know we
have an
couldn't get
option right
mileage.
here. I've highlighted that particular language for the board, and to actually be reimbursed for your traveling expenses for when you have meetings going to Woodland for your assignment as the board to the County Office of Education Board, that you would be reimbursed for your mileage if the board chooses that. Currently, you are not
absolutely choose
being.
that.
The
'Cause
board
it
is
says
currently
outside.
not
Okay,
being.
because
She's
it was
saying
my
it's
understanding
changing.
that 243, that's what our stipend was for when we went back and forth. I appreciate that though, Katie, but that's what I was told when I joined the board. When I asked, well, what about, those trips? And they said that's what the 243 is for.
Okay.
I thought the
Or 252.
The 252 was for your time. and-
Yeah, your time and not your
Your
mileage.
time and effort.
Hmm.
Is it not for that? Does anybody know?
It's a stipend. It's not
Right.
not a
Sounds-
reimbursement
Right.
or a stipend to cover expenses. It's just a stipend. So first, let's do this. Is it the board's interest to stay at 252? Okay.
I thought what Katie was asking was good in finding out what are other districts doing.
We can certainly do that
And-
if you'd like.
I'm not necessarily in favor of moving it. I'm just saying I would like
Curious.
to see where others do.
Yeah, we
I
can
would
bring
too.
that back, absolutely. We're happy to bring that back. If you turn to page 53, that first paragraph there regarding reimbursed for travel expenses incurred while performing the duties of the board outside of Yolo County.
So the
This is
Woodland wouldn't
outside
matter.
of the county, not
Yeah, Woodland wouldn't
within.
matter then. 'cause
Woodland,
it's Yolo
yeah.
County.
It's Yolo County.
Yeah.
Yet you
Can we
could
strike
go
that out and
across
just
the
say,
bridge.
she goes
Can you say outside of West
Sacramento?
Sacramento? Can we say outside of West Sacramento?
It's up to the board's discretion on this.
I would say West Sacramento.
And in parentheses optional, because I mean, like Katie went, I don't know that we would all use it, but I think
Right.
if a board member needs it, because we all come from different walks of life, sometimes we are running on fumes, whatever.
So, and we
So-
can change the language to not shall but may,
Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
if you choose to do that.
Because you may use your stipend for travel
Right.
expenses. You may
Do we
choose
want
to
to
do
say
that.
outside of Yolo County or?
No, because
Yeah.
I mean,
Outside
Yolo
West
isn't Napa even in Yolo County?
No,
No.
Napa's in Napa County.
Close.
I'm sorry, but I went to the CAG conference and I thought that was bordering. My only point is Yolo's huge.
It is huge.
Strike that quote for me just now. But I think that it's fair to say may. I don't think it's going to be taken advantage of. And if there's if it's your, your duty to be going to Woodland once a month, I think that that's very reasonable.
And I think that's an excellent point, because Woodland is a much farther trip than Sacramento, which is literally a mile and a half across the river, So you can get reimbursed for expensive going, a mile and a half, but not 30 miles? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
We'll we will strike shall and put may, and then also bring in what other districts are doing for their compensation.
And for the travel, do we need something to the effect of what district employees get, per mile, or is
It's
that
the
just a given?
IRS, it's the
54
IRS.
Just a
cents.
given, it's a statement.
54 cents a mile.
And you took out Yolo County and said West Sac, is that right?
Correct,
Okay.
correct. At the bottom of the page, there are options regarding the health and welfare benefits for board members, and we just want to make sure that the board is choosing to remain as is practice, which is that the board members who elect to participate shall pay the full cost of premiums. Is that
Option
correct?
2, is that
Is
right?
that correct, Mr. Landsberger?
We currently do option 1.
Oh, correct.
Which is a
Yeah,
board
I was
member
gonna
pays health and welfare benefit programs to the same extent that it pays district employees.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Are part-time employees offered that?
Part-time employees are offered health and welfare, I believe, if they're at 30 hours, and under ACA, it's going to go down to 20.
So we would
Huh.
be
Almost doesn't
under
seem-
full-time employees?
Yeah,
Would
you
be offered-
qualify as, to the extent of a full-time employee, and our current practice is you follow the certificated benefit platform.
I don't know if that feels fair to me, that a part-time employee wouldn't qualify. But
Well,
that
down
we
to
would.
20 hours.
Percentage.
They will
It's going down to
qualify,
20
right,
hours.
Scott? That's
Yeah,
what
they
you
do
said.
qualify under ACA.
Yeah. So it's changed.
If they're 20 hours.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
they're 20 hours or more.
20 hours a week?
Yeah.
But we don't do 20 hours a week.
Excuse me?
We do a lot of hours. Don't get me, let me be very clear. We work a lot of hours and it's a lot.
It is.
I just,
yeah. It's different. I mean, you are trustees, you
Yeah,
are
I know.
elected officials, and so it's really different from a trustee lens and the responsibilities that you hold to the community, and that the community holds you to as well.
Yeah, I get accosted in the grocery store.
So the part-time employees,
I know,
they
yeah.
have to work 20 hours a week to get it, or once they hit 20 hours, then they're eligible? Is it?
It's 20 hours, they become eligible, and it reevaluates on, I believe, 90-day cycles.
See? It's not 20 hours a week. Okay. Once they hit 20 hours, then say it again. I don't.
90 days.
I think it goes through pay cycles, and it continues to be evaluated, because it really what this is falling into is the substitute employee.
Yes.
That is your part-time employee that really falls under that particular condition,
So we
that
do
the
20 hours
American
a
then
Affordable
can we
Care Act-
change the language to just say may? Because it says shall. And like,
Thank you, yes.
And this is
Because
normal.
not every trustee may
Yeah.
choose that.
thank you.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
was gonna say, and this is normal for other boards and commission, I mean, school
It
boards
is,
and
yes.
city councils.
Okay, thank you. On page 54, it continues with the health and welfare benefits as well. And it's really talking about former board members. And Mr. Landsberger, do you recall whether we have any former board members on this?
No, we do not.
We do not. So if it's the board's interest, we can just strike this language.
Yeah, this is, so we currently, what's our current practice?
We have none.
We have none.
Okay. And then if we can turn to page 56, this is a resolution that the board should vote on whenever we have a trustee absent from a meeting. Generally, because the board is receiving a stipend, when a trustee is absent, the board takes action whether or not the trustee receives the compensation for the missed meeting. And so this is what the resolution does. I think this is new.
This is new, because this has come up before, Alicia, you'll remember this, but I think this is awkward. And I know on other boards and committees I'm on, like for me, I've missed meetings because my mom's been sick. It's not predictable, it's not, but I think this puts you guys in an awkward position to judge me on how bad it is. And I just think that this feels very weird to me. I don't know what anybody else thinks.
Isn't there a policy already that if so many meetings are missed?
If you missed many meetings, that's
Yeah.
a different
Correct.
story, but
This is
every
about
meeting that you
receipt.
miss seems a little
So the
weird.
board can, we want to make sure that there's language in there to cover the board, that the assumption of the monthly compensation, and with the language of how many board meetings are missed by the trustee, that the board would revisit and follow the policy upon the number of absences.
So like
Yeah.
after 3 consecutive absences or something, is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, there is language in there regarding missed board meetings.
I think maybe even if there's 2 or more, because I feel like there's, of course, we've seen this, abuse, and you definitely want to be transparent and open with people, but I do think that there's a little bit of leeway to have some privacy, if there's one time.
Right.
Or 2, so I just feel like, exactly like you said, every single time having this come up, I think that there's times when there might be a private reason that you don't have to share with the board and don't necessarily need them voting on. And we, as we know, are working plenty of hours doing stuff.
Okay, we will have legal
Remember.
counsel cover a statement for that so that there's no need for the exhibit. Great, thank you. We're almost done. On page 65, there's a resolution adopting the conflict of interest code. This has to do with your Form 700. And so this is just an exhibit that is in the board bylaws. So I think this is new also, to actually have this exhibit. But we follow all of the rules, the annual reporting regarding conflict of interest for every board member trustee, for every administrator in the school district. And this is just a resolution on that. Any questions on that? Okay. And the final one for your attention this evening is on page 111. And at the very top, it talks about upon approval by the board of the board meeting minutes, who would you like to have sign those minutes?
I think I do that.
Yeah, clerk should sign it. I agree.
I'm sorry, the
Our
clerk.
should sign
Got it?
President should sign.
No.
Okay.
I have one that's not on here, but we did pass a resolution that said that upon election, that board members would take the AB 1, 2, 3, 4, it's the ethics training. And while many other places, like a city council or supervisor, I believe it's mandatory, but it's not for school board trustees. But we did pass a resolution so that we would put that upon ourselves. But we said with every election, I think other folks are constrained by every 2 years or have that type of language. So I don't know where that fits well in here, but I think it needs to be in here.
I'll find it.
Perfect.
I will definitely find it.
As a lobbyist, I take ethics training every 2 years, so I don't know if 2 years would be applicable or 4 years as a term. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, we had put it, the discussion last time, certainly I guess it could be revisited, but the discussion last time, it was the will of the board to have it be within so many days of your election. So that would be 4 years, if you were reelected.
And we had a special board meeting when we were dealing with our strategic planning. And we had a discussion about a committee meeting on, was it our board policies? Is that, we were gonna have 2 board members appointed? And-
That would be helpful. Yeah, that would be great.
Well, where are we on that process? Because, I know this is our board bylaws, but what's going on with that?
So what will happen, the board will need to actually go through Series 1000. Series 1000 actually has to do directly with the governance of the board. The rest of the series, such as Series 3000, 4000, 5000, 6000, are all administrative. In other words, the board would be unable to do that language without the staff actually in those departments revising the language. So what we would do is have the administrative staff go through the board policies and ensure that we are adhering to the actual practices of the new policies. When there are options, of course, we would bring that to the board. But what we would see is to have the two members of the subcommittee for board policies review those prior to the board bringing it forward to the board, so that the board does not have to go through page by page like this. The 2 members appointed to that would have the responsibility to do that.
So have we moved forward with that, or what, is it just, I know we've had many other things, but I know we just discussed that, and I thought we even discussed about bringing someone in and having a round table with people from, I'm trying to remember what we discussed.
I think we discussed that on that Saturday, that we would have 2 board members assist as a subcommittee. And then there was another question about having CSBA come in and actually do the policies for us, but in all actuality, CSBA doesn't do the policies for us. We still have to go through the same process of all the administration going through every word, every page of the policy. What CSBA would do is take all of our red lettering and red strikeouts, and then they would upload it electronically to our website and to Agenda Online for us. Now, we can do that as well. The hard work of striking and what practice the district actually does still falls on the staff. So our next step would be the board can appoint 2 people to work on board policies and regulations with the superintendent and the staff. And those 2 board appointees would work with me. We would figure out a schedule together so that when it comes to the board, that the 2 members or the superintendent can give the board a summary of what was changed, and then it would be a vote, ready for vote.
Okay.
So it's really up to the board how you would like to do this.
Do you guys recall us talking about that on Saturday?
I did.
Were you on the board yet?
I think Trustee Leland was there that day. Yeah.
What was the secret?
They assigned you. No.
Great. I got volunteered.
So I'm happy to work with whomever, but we're going to keep going forward. If the board still wants to think about it, I'm going to already start prepping this Series 1000, which is, actually it's Series 0000 that has to do with the board governance. So I will start prepping that because it's ultimately the board's decision on that particular series. So while we prepare for the second read at the next meeting, I'm going to also start preparing for the Series 0000. And then when the board appoints 2 people, then I'll work directly with the 2 board members.
Do we want to talk about that this evening, appointing? Do we want to talk? Because I have a feeling there's a few of us that want to be on this committee, and as president, I will remind you that's just one of my jobs, to appoint the committee members. So I don't know volunteer-wise what we're looking at, and if we're looking at more than 2 people that are interested, then I would like to take the opportunity to think about it.
Since I'm not on any official committees, I'm just alternate, I'll do it.
Anyone else?
I can do it if you want. Yep.
I wanted to do it.
Oh, if you want to do it,
But
totally
I wanted to see.
fine.
No.
I don't need more work to do.
If everybody was gonna really say, I wanna do it, because I expected everybody to raise their hand. 'Cause I know
No, you take it.
I mean, I think personally with the backgrounds that Mr. Pizzati and I come from, that it's probably an interest of ours. So, I think if everybody's okay with that, that's our committee.
Okay, so I will actually send you the 0000 series once it's prepped.
Okay.
And we'll do it electronically, and then we can meet together.
And something I just wanted to think about, because I'm looking at the 9,000 series, I know we're going late, but the first paragraph, the 9,000s, and the second sentence says, the board shall ensure that the district is responsive to the values, beliefs, and priorities of the community. I have an inkling what it is, but along with our mission statement, I think that we need to think about what these are. How do we go about truly finding them? I mean, I was looking at these board bylaws, which I know, we all have, and honestly, I don't think the board's over the years, paid really a lot of attention to them. And when I read that sentence, I'm like, we need a mission statement. We need one now.
And that's the strategic planning process that we're going to be going through. And I can give a very brief update on that, in that we will be going through the strategic training. And it is requested that we have at least 2 board members present for that strategic training process before we enter into the planning process. And so I'm happy to give the board an executive summary on that, but the beliefs, the values, and the priorities of the community and the board will be reflected on the strategic plan.
Okay.
And the community, the community represents quite a few different people, but ultimately it is still the responsibility of the board, of the superintendent, and the administration to lead the district in the manner of which public education is holding us to that level, the levels of expectations and accountability. And it's really hard for our community and our public to really know what that really entails. And so our job is to do a better job of communicating. And these particular board meetings is exactly where our community will know more about the work of the board and the priorities of the district. And that's why the board is invested in having our board meetings publicized on YouTube, on the website, and streamlined live. So,
And I was gonna say something earlier. Before I came on the board, I sat in these meetings, and there was 2 or 3 people in the audience religiously. And so I have been really pleased to see the community, the staff come out and support us so we can support you. I know everybody's left, but over the, not everybody, I'm sorry, not everybody. Not everybody, I always look at Dawn and say, everybody.
Stay till the bitter end, thank you.
But we tend to have a lot more interesting meetings, a lot more people coming and sharing what they're doing on their sites, and it's really exciting to see that, because I think it's been a big change. And so that just tells us, to me, that the board is doing their job, and we are communicating, and the community is supporting us as well as staff. So I was going to say something earlier when we had a full house, but I forgot.
no, I think those are all really good points. And we also live in a time of technology. So people also have the luxury of being home and listening and viewing the board meetings. And let's not underestimate that, because people really do that. I get a lot of feedback on that. And I think that that's just our age now, where we have families and responsibilities at night after working all day. And if we can hear the business of the board and of the district at home while we're getting kids ready and, ready for bed, and ourselves having a late dinner, I think people are choosing to definitely tune in.
Yeah.
I know staff is, so.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you for doing
board.
this.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Ashley,
Absolutely.
thank you for all the
Thank you.
copying.
Since we'll be voting on, we have it coming back to us to another read, I guess that might be the point then when we talk about what's in it, because there are things like the board evaluation that we'll have to give and make a timeline for. So I don't know when we'll be making sure that we're doing what's in the bylaws we adopt, if that's when it comes back and we talk. You know what I mean? But that's one that I thought, wow, we really need to have a timeline for our board evaluation and the tool and what that looks like, because that's an area we've talked about a lot, but we haven't done, and it's obviously open session. And so I think that's, as I was reading these, I thought, well, when are we gonna make that timeline? So.
And if you recall, last board member Pizzati, you weren't here, but last year I started the lovely governance handbook.
did,
That had
yes.
all
It's
of
wonderful,
that stuff
and
in
I've-
there.
yes, and I've
And it's been stagnant for a long time, and I think part of the reason it was, and I think board member Leland brought this up, is we really need to do our bylaws and our policies before we can go forward with that. But yeah, reading this, I'm like, oh my gosh, we don't do that. We haven't done that.
we have to do it.
So I think it was good for all of us. So we're finally to future. Did you have something?
Nope.
Okay. Future board agenda items. We have information board discussion on the apprenticeship program opportunities. That's a big yay. That's been sitting on the back burner for a while. The second read and approval of Series 9000 board bylaws, March 10th, 2016. And the information board discussion regarding the California Voting Rights Act in Board of Trustees areas, March 10th, 2016. And we have the Lighthouse Charter Memorandum of Understanding, March 2016. And I don't know if Norma was on the board, and I know Mr. Pizzati was not. Something I want to get back to, because it was something I started with the governance handbook, is there was a form, and I'll email it to you. For the future board agenda items, there was a form that we wanted maybe before the meeting to fill out. And it would say what you wanted on the agenda, how it, was related to our strategic planning. Because it is, as a board, we don't want to clog up our agendas with things that, do not really pertain to, our strategic plan. So, I'm gonna email that form, and I'd like to really start using that.
Okay.
And, because I know, it had a few questions, and then at the end of the meeting, we can hand it to the superintendent and staffs, and they can be given direction on, is it really need to be on the agenda? Is it some information they can just give us? So, I like written, not just oral, and people don't understand what we need. So I'm gonna email that to you, and hopefully we can start using that. But with that, is there any more future board agenda items?
I'd like to get a resolution in support of the preschool on the 1/8 cent tax, supporting that we want preschool for all of Yolo County.
Trustees, as soon as the County Office of Education releases their resolution, all the other school districts in Yolo County will then put it on their agendas.
That's great.
So we will wait as soon as the Yolo County Office of Education moves forward on a resolution, all the other school districts will follow suit.
Fantastic.
Board Member Villegas, you had something?
Oh, no.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Oh, you're waiting to make a motion, aren't you?
Go ahead, I'm waiting.
Can I say a quick one?
Yes.
Since I don't have the form yet, but it's one that you had brought up, and you had brought up bond oversight, an update on that, I believe. And so, just a thought as we move forward of what that looks like in terms of, does the president of their committee come and speak and be a piece of that? Because I know we get reached out to a lot by some of the people on the bond oversight committee saying, what's my role? And if the president maybe came with that group and spoke with our staff, that might just be a key piece.
Did they give us
Because
a
we didn't
summary of
have-
that meeting?
I don't feel like we had one.
Did they give us a summary, or did somebody say, or was it Kevin saying he would give us a summary, or?
Actually, for a Citizens Oversight Committee, there's a couple things that can be done for the board to be kept abreast. The minutes of each of the Citizens Oversight Committee meetings need to be approved by the Citizens Oversight Committee. It's also the district's responsibility to ensure that they're posted on the website, and they are posted. Once a year, we do have an audit, that is a financial audit that is done with the bond. And generally, the Citizens Oversight Committee accepts the audit, and at that point, then it depends on how the school district generally does that business. I've seen where Citizens Oversight Committees do not report to the board at all. They do meet regularly, and they post all of their minutes on the website. There are, in another school district, the Citizens Oversight Committee president, upon accepting the audit done on the bond, will bring that to the board and say the Citizens Oversight Committee has reviewed the audit and has approved the audit, and then that is their report.
I think that might be a nice way to just streamline it and have them come, so we know when the audit happens, that they come to that piece. So,
I
thinking
have
about that.
Real quick, Cheryl Castorina, we often talked about what we may do to honor her memory and all the work she did on Bright Park.
I don't know if that's an agenda item. I think that's a discussion that
Okay.
can be had. I mean, I know we've brought it up several times. I myself have emailed the city and never get a response about just planting a tree. So I don't know if, maybe that's something we, a board member or two can meet with Scott, since Scott is the financial man, and see what possibilities we have, and maybe reach out to the city, because I think what we're talking about is something at Bright Park. Is that correct, Norma?
Yes.
So I think I don't think it should be an agenda item, but I think, we can discuss it with Scott, and then if it's something at some point we need to bring to the board. to vote on or participate in, so but we should start there first.
Okay.
And I think Scott's available on Saturday.
So maybe members of the
Plant
2x2
tree.
committee?
Yeah.
So that would be,
2 by 2?
yes. Beautiful plaque something. Okay.
Sounds good. Okay, can I have, with nothing else, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So
So
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.